Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our little podcast. My name is Edery. Long live the King, Moshiach. Today we're going to go over how to invest in the modern era and impact change ethically. This video is brought to you by AdviceLink. AdviceLink helps people invest ethically and create a better future. And we're going to talk about how to invest in the modern era. First of all, why is it important? And then we're going to go into how exactly to do it. The problem and then the solution. So the problem is that currently, as we know, with the corona situation, the vaccine situation, the lockdown of the world, everyone is being pushed into a corner where we need to think more differently, and we need to realize that the world is going very, very quickly into a place that, for ethical people, moral people, religious people, might not exactly be what we had in mind. So, right now, we need to figure out how we can impact change through investment. So, many people invest in stocks and all kinds of things, and it's important to know which stocks to invest in, even if they're going down. People say, "Oh, let's invest when it's going down." Now, Facebook is going down, for example. Twitter is going down. Let's catch it when it's low, and then and then we'll sell when it's high. When you are investing ethically and how you can impact change into the world, you have to always remember: Do I want this to go up? Do I want this to be successful? And based on that, you will decide if to invest in it. So Facebook currently is in middle of censorship, and we don't want censorship because censorship is dangerous. Because if they're gonna censor the left, they're gonna censor the right, they're gonna censor everyone they don't like, and that's not nice, and that's not correct, and that's not proper for us. So that's not something we want. So we don't want to invest in that place. So it's important when you're investing in a company that you pay attention to the news, what's happening with this specific company now, why is this stock going down? Is it because, in the case of Facebook and Twitter, for example, it's because they're not being ethical? So then you don't want to be part of that. Um, uh, and so on and so on. And we have to find things that are important to us. They create the future we want. Again, as the CEO of AdviceLink has spoken to me about, Sean Lee, it's important that we know the future we are creating, because where you put your money is not only where you're investing in and you might get a return, it's also the future we want, the future we would like to order, you know? So it's very important that we do it in the right way. Obviously, we should never invest with money. According to Judaism, we know that we should never invest with money that we need. In other words, it has to be money that we can throw away in the garbage and nothing, and we won't cry about it, because yeah, we're never allowed to use money that we're going to use for our bread, for our mouth, to invest in, because that could be dangerous. Obviously, the best investments are always things that we have closer control over. Like if you buy a vending machine and you put it in a place where you have permission to put it, and you're helping it, you're doing a service, and you stock the vending machine and you help and you create your own business. That's the best kind of investment. Or if you create a small business, like you rent out a car that you bought, and you make sure you rent it out to good people and whatever it is. So that's a business that you create. Um, and so on and so forth. So if you create a business that you have much closer, that you invest in buying a car, or you invest in buying a vending machine, or you invest in creating a online website to sell a product for somebody that doesn't have, let's say there's a store that he sells a lot of products, but he doesn't have a reach online. So you're doing them a favor, and you're investing in something. You're helping the world, and you're doing something that you think is good. So if you're selling food, or you're selling uh, vehicles or transportation, you're doing something positive for the world, then you should be proud of yourself and you should go on with that. Obviously, it's important to know that the factories that are making those cars, or the way that this food is being made, is ethical and moral. And obviously, in AdviceLink, there's different levels of the way we check. Uh, if something is good or bad. Um, and the way we do that is by there's different levels. In other words, we can know a specific company personally. We could actually be there and check it ourselves, or we can gather as much information as we can online or from other people that did investigations. So this is kind of different variants of levels of in-depth investigation. Obviously, AdviceLink will look into um, specific companies more as the demand to investigate those companies goes higher. Obviously, an investigation by AdviceLink can be very, very profitable to the company being investigated if the investigation turns out to be okay. Now, AdviceLink is not like PETA or any other organization that is very extreme and rash. We're actually much more on the conservative side, and we're much more on the religious side, and we support Trump and that kind of thing. But that's just our personal, you know, thing. We're just not as brazen and careless. We understand the business and the economics of every investment. We understand that every business has to make economic sense, and we are very, very reasonable. And we also understand that there's a lot of diversity. In other words, there could be a company that maybe it's not good at these things A, B, and C, but it is good at D, E, and F. Starbucks can say we're a very ethical company because we support Black Lives Matter. That might be good for certain people, and that might be considered an ethical point to certain people, and it can be considered a minus for other people. And we are accepting of that diversity, and we're not trying to impose our vision on any company. We're just there to document and shed light and bring that company out. So, how to invest in the modern era? We should invest ethically, and we should impact change through learning about the company, and also making sure that we cross-check specific places of investment with a company like AdviceLink, which gives uh, ethical and moral significance. Like a certification of of ethical and moral uh, conduct. Now, AdviceLink is not a Jewish company technically, or it's not necessarily a Jewish company, but it does work with the Sanhedrin Services, MN Global, with us, in order for us to advise them and to be part of the group that analyzes specific companies to make sure that the Jewish morals and ethics apply to this specific company, or how would the Jewish morals and ethics perspective view this specific company. So these are the things that impact change ethically in the world. This is the way we should invest these days. Obviously, we should watch the news and follow the news and everything, but what we're looking for here is if Facebook is doing censorship, or if there's a company that's going and doing terrorism or going against God's will, going against the Ten Commandments or whatever, don't kill, don't steal, so then we don't want to be part of that. We want to build the world. We don't want to destroy it. We have obviously many, many people that think they're doing the world a favor by X, Y, and Z. The question is, we have to always go back to the Bible, to the drawing board, and see, does this company actually make the world a better place, or is it something that I think is in line with the Bible, with the Scripture? And perhaps we should ask a company like AdviceLink or the Sanhedrin Services, or a Jewish company that understands these things much better, and trust their opinion, so that we don't have to make a decision that will maybe give us financial gain in the short term, but destroy the world in the long term. So that is, in short, what we need to remember today. Stick out for 10 tips on how to invest ethically, 10 steps on how to invest ethically, and tricks of investing ethically coming up